different ways.
Mack, the Big 12 meetings last week, and obviously on the agenda, Gonzaga on the agenda, or discussion was something about what's going to happen with Texas and Oklahoma and the possibility of them leaving early. You'd kind of get different perspective that it's dead in the water to Brett Yormark even saying, no, it's a constant negotiation. What is your gut feeling on what's going to happen?
Yeah, my gut is, we'll find a sweet spot, and I think that's going to happen, sooner rather than later. And sometimes you get to a point, place, and time where you have what I would call deal fatigue, and everybody that's involved is just tired, right? And they're fed up and they're frustrated, and so you've got to pause maybe for 24, 48 hours. Let emotions get back in check, and I think that's probably what happened. As we got closer to the end of the week, I think everybody's willing. When you think about all the parties involved, the two conferences, Big 12, SEC, the two media partners, Fox and ESPN, and then you talk about certainly OU and Texas, and so I think everybody's willing, and my gut says that we'll get to the right place probably sooner rather than later, and OU and Texas will go on with their life a year early, and we, the Big 12, the 12 of us, will be able to move forward and continue to what I think is building this really, really special conference that is going to be as good as anybody in college athletics, and certainly as good as anybody when we think about the Power Five.
One quick follow-up. You're talking after 22-20 or 23-24 that's your gut feeling that would be it?
Yeah, I think, my gut is, again, if you were having to ask me, that this upcoming season, this 23 football season, 23-24 academic year would be their last. And then we would move on, and so that means that they would end up leaving a year early. They wouldn't participate in the 24-25 academic year, like what was originally planned, like when they were contracted to be a member of the Big 12 until again, I think my gut says that we'll get to a place where they'll leave a year early, and I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later.
I think from like outsiders' perspectives, I think we probably all hear like there's a very loud ticking clock on this. Obviously there is. I mean, you have to get it done by a certain time or there's a point of no return, but that's not necessarily ticking as fast as maybe people in the outside world would say, Mac.
Yeah, I mean, somebody told me the other day, and I didn't go and fact check it, but when Missouri left for the SEC, I mean, that was literally in December, and they were that following year were participating in the SEC, and so not an ideal situation, and not something that we'd like to do, because look, we've got 4 new members coming in, and we want some clarity of who's in the league and what the league's going to be like and how we brand and market it. But there's not this huge sense of urgency. I think if it doesn't get done here in the in a timely manner here within the next week, right, then I think it's probably a pause for a while, and people just rethink some things and probably need some separation and not really have to talk about it for a little while. Again, my gut says we'll get something done.
Is there any chance, Mac, and you're one of 12 ADs that are not a part of Texas and Oklahoma, and obviously Brett Yormark and his administration, there are figures that have been tossed around. Exit fees, whatever it is. I know a lot of it can be legally negotiated, whatever. Can you imagine, is there any chance the Big 12 would just say, screw it, we need to move on. They're not going to give up this thing, are they? Where they're not going to get a big fat check from both before they leave?
Yeah, I think that, one, that's a really complicated question, and there's certainly precedent out there when, other schools have left the leagues early, and, um, precedent states and says that, it's what those institutions have owed. They've really only ended up paying, 60% of what they really owed because of all of the legal ramifications, et cetera, and whether, you go to mediation and, where does it go to court and what state and all of those things. And, what I will tell you is if we get this thing done, I think it will be fair. It'll be fair to the Big 12. It'll be fair to everyone involved. I think everybody is going to and will have to give a little bit. But I think we, the Big 12, can feel good about, where this lands and the fact that we can move on.
Mack Rhoades, Baylor's Director of Athletics, with us on 365 Sports. You were discussing earlier about Jonathan Jamachet